Hi, I'm Dana, and tomorrow is my last full day living here. I move early on, not that early, but on Friday morning I'm moving. So tomorrow's my last full day, and I keep having heart palpitations, I keep shaking, I feel hot and cold because of how anxious I am, I keep throwing up. I'm having a horrible fucking time. I'm absolutely petrified, but I'm intending to do this and then hopefully sort the last bits that I need to do to actually be ready to move in the admin way, pay my rent and deposit and things like that. And I'm fucking petrified. I'm so scared, but we're dealing with it. And that's what today's video is about, kind of, because one of the big ways that I deal with stress and anxiety and the unknown and change and all of that is massively retreating into my special interest shows and into media and watching things. I watch so much more when I'm having a bad time than I do when I'm having a good time, and I rewatch the same things a lot more often. And one of the things that I've realised increasingly over the last couple of years and have been working on is how much I sort of re-trigger my trauma and to a point seek things out that are going to be triggering and upsetting in order to sort of be able to process and cope with things. So we're going to get right into it, because I very genuinely think one of the best things that I've ever done for myself was stop watching true crime content. I was a massive true crime fanatic. Most of my day I would have some sort of true crime podcast, documentary, YouTuber. There would be someone in the background of my day being like, and then this woman was horribly murdered, you know? And describing the ways that she was murdered and how this guy just got away with it for fucking ages. And things like that definitely did not actually help my anxiety, you know? That wasn't helping me process anything, it wasn't helping me figure anything out. It was just making me way more anxious and way more scared of the world and scared of people and scared of men, and it just really fucked me up in a way that I was not aware of for a really lengthy amount of time while I was into it. And then I had a day where I was just like, this is not good for me, I don't think this is benefiting me, and I stopped listening and engaging with that type of content. And I still have a massive amount of anxiety and fear, and lots of things aren't great for me, but it's different, you know? I'm not genuinely I mean, I am to a point still quite afraid of being murdered and kind of convinced that it is going to happen, but not in the same way, not the same constant anxiety, hypervigilance, be aware of everything all the time because otherwise you're going to get murdered and a fucking Ellen O'Neill's going to be making a YouTube video about you. So I thought I'd sort of not done the work, but you know, I'd figured something out. I stopped engaging in that content. I did a better thing for myself, go me. And the last maybe 6 months, I've become increasingly aware of how much I very much re-trigger my trauma through the TV shows that I watch. And sometimes it's very intentional, subconsciously intentional, and other times it's literally just I like this actor and all of a sudden I'm watching this horrible thing that feels quite reminiscent of my life because this actor I like is in it, because I'm autistic and that's the way I choose things a lot of the time. And even when I am intentionally re-triggering my trauma, that's why I'm doing it. It's because there's an actor I like there, you know, I wouldn't be bothering to do it otherwise. But in the way that I've been doing it more recently, I don't think it's unhealthy necessarily. I do think I actually might be helping myself in some ways, because the type of trauma that I'm talking about is emotionally abusive relationships, very narcissistic family, the neglect and emotional abuse that I face from my family, that type of thing. And that's something that I find quite commonly in the little BBC shows that I watch with the actors that I like in. That's when they're doing typical northern working class life. I'm like, yes, this is typical northern working class life. This is exactly what I experienced, thank you. And obviously it's also not, because it's television. I am aware of that, don't get me wrong. But also, it's things I saw a clip from The Jetty, and we are probably going to have a few minor spoilers for various BBC dramas here. You just deal with it, quite frankly. I'm sorry. I don't feel like most of my audience are into it in the same way that I am, so you probably don't care, but there's gonna be. So I saw a clip from The Jetty on TikTok where, basic rundown, Jenna Louise Coleman is a cop and she had a baby with a man when she was 17 and he was 21, 22. So that's, you know, a good bit nancy. He kind of groomed her there, and she was basically, the whole show was her figuring that out, and I was like, oh my god, babe, I did this, I've been here, babe. And it's great that she was in Doctor Who, that really works for me. But her mother was also Amelia Bulmore, which Amelia Bulmore's mummy, I'm sorry, but that's the fact, that's the case, that's what's that's the way it is. And there's the part that I'd seen on TikTok that then made me go and watch the whole show was her apologising for letting her daughter like be groomed as a 17-year-old. And as someone who was groomed as a 16-year-old, I was like, I actually do need to see my like medium mother apologise for that. Like, well, actually, like, when I think of Amelia Bullmore, I think of the bit in Ashes to Ashes when she's like, thank God my only daughter only shares a name with you, I'd hate her to be like you. That's my Amelia Bullmore. My Amelia Bullmore medium mother is her being fucking horrible to Alex Drake, because that's what my mother was like to me. And like, to be fair, there's a reason that my favourite show is about a woman finding out that her mother did love her after all, okay? I would love that to happen to me. And I was going to be like, oh, that's off topic, but it's kind of exactly on topic, because I've literally latched onto this actor because she quite often plays mothers that are like reminiscent of mine, you know, like they might have had this like similar past behaviour to my mother, but they're also trying to improve and do better and apologise and like move on and actually deal with it, instead of just brushing it under and be like, let's just continue exactly how we are, even though it's like not good. You know, like I get to see what I had and what it could have been. And it's both kind of fucking horrible and sort of healing at the same time. Like, I do think there's a level to which I'm able to process the situations that I was in and the emotions that I had within them and the things that I've been having to figure out. And I can sort of process them alongside this little character that's played by a little person that I like. And it just makes it easier for my brain to like take it in. And that's where I also think it's kind of healthy, maybe, for me personally, because I also have a lot of moments. See, the thing is, I have a lot of moments in TV shows where I pause and cry. Just in general, just because I'm autistic and my special interest is media, and that's what happens. I get really overwhelmed. I need to pause it to cry, and that happens with things like I watched The War of the Land and the Sea and the Doctor and the TARDIS and the new Doctor Who spin-off with Russell Tovey, and there was a point where his voice broke and it reminded me so much of George from Being Human, and then I went on like the whole thought tangent about how like George just wanted to be human, man, like he just wanted to be a guy, he was so nice and he was so good. And then I had to pause the show that I was watching because I was just having a little cry about Being Human and how great a show that was and how much I loved the characters in it. Like, it's not an uncommon thing for me to just pause a show and be like, I need to cry for like 12 minutes and then I'll come back to it like nothing happened. And it's quite often because it's reminded me of a different show, but I also have quite a significant amount of times when it's because I've gotten to see something play out that is similar enough to my trauma and my experiences and the abuse that I've faced and the situations that I've been in, and it's similar enough that like I'm getting to see what I went through, and I'm seeing it be presented in a bad light. I'm seeing it be presented in the way of like, this is horrible, this is unfair, this is unfortunate, this isn't something someone should have to go through. We're like, the point of this in the plot is to elicit like empathy for the character, you know? And being able to take that in from like the media perspective and have my little autistic brain work on it and be like, if that's the emotion they're trying to elicit from me as the viewer, that's because that situation is actually as bad as I felt like it was at the time. And maybe everyone around me went, oh my God, you just need to deal with it. It's not even that bad. People, like, you know, everything's about you, like, blah, 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 all of, like, the typical emotional abuse response. If they were right, the TV show wouldn't be doing it to elicit the response that I thought was the correct one, you know? Like, it's validating and it's healing, and it allows me to process that, like, the situations that I saw in a certain light were in that light. I saw them in the way that they were, and it was other people lying and not wanting to take accountability and not wanting to reflect and all that kind of thing, you know? It's very, very fucking validating. And that's where I don't think it's necessarily the most healthy thing to be watching TV shows where you pause it for 15 minutes once an episode to have like a big cry because it's reminded you of this like past trauma and you actually feel really bad about it now. But also, the vast majority of it, I didn't get to feel bad about at the time. You know, like I'd be upset or angry or whatever else. I would just be shut down and told that I was being silly and being oversensitive and being dramatic and being a drama queen. So I didn't get to feel it at the time. But I can watch these TV shows and have it be similar enough that I get to feel it now and work through it now and actually just like sit with the emotion and be like, that was bad, that was horrible, and I shouldn't have had to go through that, and it was really unfair. And I also feel like, again, probably because of the autism, like I struggle a lot to be like emotionally vulnerable with people, with even my closest friends. Like that's a struggle for me. I find that very difficult. I find it very uncomfortable. I don't particularly want to do it because it doesn't feel like a positive thing for me a lot of the time. So I get to have this like feeling of human kinship from the characters that are going through the same things that I've been through. And that's another one where I'm like, is that the healthiest thing? And I kind of think I'm doing all right with it, purely because I search for balance, you know? Like, I'm never going to stop being media autistic, like it's my special interest, it's the thing that I love. I'm never going to stop being invested in my characters and in my shows. That's just the way that I am as a person. And like, especially as a teenager, when I was getting into like Sherlock and Supernatural and becoming like the super Wholock kind of thing, I very much like lost myself to characters. I would try so hard to be the people that I liked in shows that I had. I mean, it's the thing of like, did I lose myself, or was I a teenager that didn't have like a particularly fully formed sense of self, and it was something I needed to like take inspiration from, instead of just like going all in and be like, I am Sherlock now, you know? Like, I don't do that anymore. I am able to just like take inspiration from characters and be able to use them in the way of like, I respect this character's strength and I like the way they do this and I like the way they handled that, and I'm going to take these things into my life and use these as like almost learning experiences that I haven't had to go through like the pain of, you know? And I also do, you know, like, I try my best. I'm not always great at it because I have a social disability, but I try very hard to maintain connections with actual real people. You know, like, if I was exclusively getting that feeling of like, oh, I'm not alone in this and someone else understands, if I was exclusively getting that from TV shows and my characters, I think that would be quite unhealthy. I get the balance and a mixture of it, and I have like my private times when I can be very emotionally vulnerable on my own and not have to feel so on my own. And I also have like real life people I can talk to, like real life, like internet friends for the most part. But you know, like, I have actual voices of human beings in my life that are not me, and seeing everything from my perspective and my point of view. And I think that's a very healthy thing to be having and doing. And as long as I have that balance there, I don't think that's unhealthy. The times that I have like retreated fully into my little TV worlds, I think have been quite unhealthy. There have been the times that I like haven't done anything for my actual real life. You know, like I've had times that I've spent like 8 months inside watching a TV show over and over and over, and me blogging pictures of that character on Tumblr, and that was like all I fucking did, you know, and that's definitely not healthy. And I don't do that anymore. We've healed something there, something's gotten better, you know. So sometimes it feels very cathartic, and like I am having an opportunity to like process and understand things and feel the emotions and deal with it, and actually like to some point process and heal from it. And then other times, like I'm watching Marriage at the minute because it's Sean Bean and Nicola Walker, and her dad in it is one of those parents that's very like nothing she does is good enough, and he doesn't like her very much. And she goes over and she's like, hi dad, how are you, how's your day been, what have you been up to? And he's like, it's fine. And she's like, good. Have you eaten yet? You know, like, it's exactly what I was having to do with my family a lot of the time. It's you going in and trying to make everything nice and trying to make everything happy because there's no reason for it not to be, and they're just fucking non-responsive and clearly don't like you and clearly don't particularly want to be there and don't particularly want you there, but also you know that if you weren't there they would have a fucking issue with you not being there. And the show happens, and there's another bit where she's supposed to be going out for their anniversary meal, and he's like, oh, I didn't, and he calls them to come and fix his oven, his cooker stopped working, and she's all dressed up because they're gonna go out for this meal, and he's like, oh, I didn't know you were going out. What are you going out for? And she's like, well, it's my anniversary. And he's like, oh, I didn't know it was your anniversary. How many years now? And she's like, 27. And it's the first time that we see her be like irresponsive and not like all happy and cheery and trying to make things good in the way that she normally is, and basically giving him his own behaviour back. And that's when he's like, oh, thank God you've come over and sorted my oven. It's so kind of you to do this. Why don't you stay and have some toast? Why don't you stay and eat with me? Oh, and what about that promotion you had at work you were trying to tell me about the other day? Why don't you tell me about that now? Why don't you sit down and stay and tell me about it now? And it's that thing of when you have a narcissistic parent or like just a shitty abusive person in your life, and they don't want anything to fucking do with you, and they don't care about any of your interests, and they don't give a fuck what's going on with you. And then the moment that you have something in your own life outside of them, they're like, but if you just drop that thing, I'll give you everything you ever wanted from me. I'll give you love, I will give you validation, I will tell you how proud I am of you. All you need to do is drop this outside thing that you're meant to be doing, like, is outside of my control and outside of all of that, you know? Like, I had that situation so many fucking times, and it was fucking devastating, you know? Like, it was absolutely devastating to walk away from my mum offering me like validation and a nice night with her, and her like wanting to know about my interests and wanting to watch what I'm into lately and wanting to hear about my actors because I have a date scheduled with someone, or I have this going on with a friend, or I'm going to this party. And walking away from that knowing that it would have been a really nice fucking night. She would have absolutely validated the fuck out of me, you know, and watching things like that. I had a big cry, and I still massively don't feel over it. And it's sort of annoying because I hadn't thought about that in a really long fucking time, you know? Like, I hadn't thought about those situations. That just, like, that element of my mother's abuse hasn't been on my mind, and now it very much fucking is. And then that brings up all of the memories of, like, the times that we had good, nice times together, because we very much did. And yes, it was always to make up for something, or because something else was coming later on that she wanted help with, or whatever else. Like, there was always a reason that she was doing it, but it was still nice times. And now I'm thinking of all of them, and I don't really fucking want to. And I don't feel good about it. And I kind of wish I hadn't watched it, but I am going to finish the show. I know full well that I'm going to finish it and watch the rest of it, even though it's had multiple parts like that have, like, quite deeply triggered me. Like, at one point Sean Bean had to go into the office of, like, some, like, solicitor or something to sort the paperwork for his mother's death, and they were talking about what kind of cancer their mum's had, and I was just sat there like, I've done this. It's horrible. Fucking horrible. I hate it. I hate when mums having cancer comes up with things, and it's the kind of thing that, like, is happening all the fucking time. Oh, I just spat. Sorry about that. Hope you're alright. Splash zone. But, like, going to see fucking 28 years later all excited and then being like, oh, yeah, she has a similar type of cancer to my mum, and she's having, like, similar symptoms to what my mum had, and we just didn't know what was going on either, and this is actually, like, really bringing up some memories for me. Like, the way that so much media triggers things like that, where I'm not expecting it and I don't particularly want it, but now it's fucking here, and I'm not gonna, like, turn off a movie halfway through because it's making me emotionally distressed, you know? Like, I'm finishing the fucking thing, but I also wish I'd never started it. Watching stuff like that does also always make me sort of feel like I sort of speed ran having a normal quote-unquote life, because it's one of those things where, like, when I'm watching stuff about couples that have been married for, like, 20 odd years, obviously I did not have that experience. I didn't have kids with my partner, any of that, but I was with a man from when I was 16 until I was 24, and I acted like his fucking mother, you know? Like, I sorted his meals, I washed his clothes. Like, we got to a point where, like, we were like an old married couple. We did not like each other, we didn't want to particularly coexist, but we just sort of were used to it and got on with it and continued with it, and we were talking about getting married, even though, like, I think both of us were very aware we didn't fucking want to, and this was not a match, and nothing about the relationship was good. It's just weird that a lot of my experiences are often reflected by characters that are, like, much older than me. But, like, this part's a little bit off topic, but I think it's also a thing of, like, being queer and having been with a man when I don't like men and things like that. Some of, like, the parts of, like, marriage and relationships that actually are normal are things that I also found kind of traumatizing and horrible, because I was a lesbian in a really long relationship with a man, you know? So it's the kind of thing where, like, I do sort of feel like I should avoid these types of things, because I have so many things that are part of, like, normal life, like my dad getting all forgetful and having really awkward situations with him, like, horrible situations with him where he didn't know who I was, watching my parents' health decline until the point where they die. Like, there's so many things that people in their 40s, like, the common experience, and I've already done it, and now it's just sort of really triggering to me, but I really love these actors, so I just watch it anyway. Oh. To be fair, having said all of that, and having said how much I watch all of that kind of thing, the main show that I've been rewatching lately is Riot Women, and none of the trauma and horrible things in that have anything to do with me. I mean, some of the suicide stuff is a little bit relatable, but all the rest of it, none of that's mine. I haven't had any of that stuff. Like, that's the stuff that I just watch as a viewer and, like, have the emotion elicited from me, because it's not something I, like, heavily relate to and have been through. And I'm glad that I have that at the minute. I think that's also a healthy part of this, is having other shows that don't re-trigger my trauma that I can go back and re-watch and stay happy with. I'm gonna re-watch Off Like Me's Death really soon. Okay, I'm starting it in, like, an hour with a friend, actually. But yeah, that's the end of this video. I'm done talking now. As always, if you have any sort of opinion, any sort of thoughts on this topic, I would love to hear them. If it's something you feel like you do, if it's something that you used to do, if you want to tell me about what you did, like what media you used, like any of that, I would love to hear. I really like getting comments, I really like reading them all. It's up to you though. I post videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays if you would like to subscribe. Obviously I am about to move, so I honestly don't know if my upload schedule is going to get a bit messy, but this is the last time, probably, that you'll see this background, and that's kind of sad. I will do something similar when I've moved, but, like, it's the last time with this, guys. I'm so scared. It'll be fine. So yeah, you can also find me over on TikTok or Instagram. You can also find me on Ko-fi or Patreon if you would like to help me out. Now is the time. Ko-fi is a very helpful place for me. You don't have to though, there's no pressure. Like, I'm a person independently. Whoever you are, wherever you are, have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.